Mind you, in hindsight, this one felt pretty good when it hit, but in hindsight, maybe it's a pike. I don't know. I don't know, that's a walleye. Just kind of, there we go. Might be another eater. Yeah, very good. He just flew. He's flapping his wings. So have you ever caught a walleye with its stomach sticking out of its mouth? What did you do about it? If you release that fish into the water, it's just going to flop around on the top and it's going to die. Even if it does go down just a little bit, it'll soon float back up to the top. I caught a sauger with its stomach sticking out of its mouth just a little while ago. I'll show you what I did. Stick around. It's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. Holy smokes. That's not a good thing. That is not a good thing. Well, we happen to have a solution for that. There he goes, down to the bottom. Of course, it's not a good thing that I lost my weight, but he's no longer on the hook. So, this is for Barotrauma. This is my deep water release. It's not all that deep, but as you can see, his swim bladder was sticking out of his mouth. I have this little unit here with a great big weight on it to take them down. We'll even take down a 28-inch walleye. Except I haven't changed the line for about 5 years, so the weight came off, but the fish is also off, and he's not on a hook or anything. He's down there swimming freely. So a fish that would otherwise have died has been saved by my deep water release. Now I'll have to rebuild my deep water release and put another big weight on it, but it works pretty good. One fish's life saved. So the reason why the stomach is sticking out of a fish's mouth is because its air bladder is filled up with air, gases, and it's pushing the stomach out. And if you were to pop that stomach, that's not going to help the fish at all because the air bladder is inside. So there's a practice known as fizzing, which tournament anglers started to use because, of course, they have to keep their fish in good shape. They have to keep them alive for the weigh-in. And if they've caught a fish a little bit too deep and the fish has got its stomach sticking out of its mouth, they're suffering from barotrauma, maybe in different respects. In other words, it can't maintain its right upright attitude in the live well. That's where they started fizzing, which is putting a needle through the side of the fish into the air bladder and releasing the air. So that gives the fish a chance to remain upright, and theoretically, that's going to heal over time, but I don't know. There's no real research on any of that because, of course, governments all around the world don't like to fund things like that. So the method that I used is totally non-invasive. It releases the fish quickly to the bottom where the air naturalizes, it gets back to equilibrium in its body, and it swims happily away. No poking with needles, no fizzing. And it's a deep water release device, which is homemade. You can make it yourself in probably 15 minutes. from you know, an old fishing rod that you have hanging around your house. And so let's check it out. There we go. Yeah, you hit that one good. Very nice indeed. Back he goes. Straight to the bottom. So we'll fish just a little while longer, and then I'm going to fix my my deep release device, and I'll show you how it's put together and how you can make one too. Very simple. There we go, very nice. Ready to go back. Straight to the bottom. Yeah, I don't know why that other sauger had barotrauma. I've probably caught 1,000 walleye in this spot. It's not all that deep. And none of them ever had barotrauma. That's the first. But he did, and we got to put him down. Good thing I still had that, aside from me not fishing for the last, not making any videos for the last 5 or 6 years, I also hadn't used my, you know, deep water release device for the last 5 or 6 years, so the line was a little bit rotten, but I still managed to get the job done. Here we go. Ouch. Smarts. Little guy. Just a tiny little fella. Straight to the bottom though. That's a little nicer, eater size. If I can get that out. Getting me, yep. There we go, nice little feller. Straight to the bottom again. What have we got here? Look at this, eh? We've got a great big rock bass. There we go, a rocky. Back he goes. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's a pike. It is a little rotten pike. Oh yeah, look at that, eh? Okay. Let's try not to catch me, shall we, Mr. Pike? Okay, well, you're going to be miserable. There we go. Straight to the bottom. No barotrauma there. That's a good eater. Oh. So I'm going to fish for just a little while longer, catch a few more fish, and then I'm going to show you a little bit greater detail how my deep water release device was made and how you can make one yourself. There we go, another eater walleye. No barotrauma here. Oh, come on, you. There we go, nice and healthy. Straight down to the bottom. That's what you want. This one feels a bit better. snarled up. Not a bad size for an eater. Maybe too big to be an eater, actually. Whoa! Yeah, that's a little bit too big for an eater, but very nice. You ready to go, fella? There he goes, straight down to the bottom. There's another dandy eater. Holy mackerel. That's either at the large end of the eater, ouch! Large end of the eater scale, or it's too big to be an eater. Very nice indeed. And again, straight to the bottom. No barotrauma there at all. That's another good eater. Holy macaronis. Very nice. Very nice indeedy-do. You ready to go? There he goes. Straight down. So let's have a closer look at my deep water release device. I put a new weight on it. And so my device resides here, where it's nice and handy to reach in the corner of my boat. I can just pick it up when I catch a fish, just like this. And I'll go into a little bit more detail on what it looks like. This is just a cheap ice fishing rod I picked up at Walmart years ago. And probably just cost $5–10, made by South Bend. So it's an old reel I don't use anymore. And then on it I'm using 40-pound fluorocarbon just because it's a little bit stiff. This here is a hook just on upside down, widened the gap a little bit, took off the barb, and with this hook what you do is you hook that into the lower jaw, lower lip of the fish for when you're going to lower it. So it's in the lower lip and it's pushing down like that when you're dropping it. Here we have a weight. This is an 8-ounce weight. And that seems to be sufficient for walleye even up to 28 inches. But because it's on a snap, I can also add more weight if I have to get it down. So this is something anybody can build. Just you have an old hook sitting in your tackle box, you can put this on. It's not rocket science. And so this hooks onto the lower jaw, and then the weight pulls the fish down, and with this type of reel you can control the drop with your thumb. And I think that's important, to be able to control the drop, rather than just having a spin cast and just dumping the whole thing to the bottom all at once. And then so once the weight hits the bottom, we just wait for a second, let the fish acclimatize, and then when you jerk up, this hook, because it's got no barb and it's upside down, just pulls out of the lower jaw. The fish is free to swim, and it does not come back up to the surface. Now you probably know that if you take a fish with barotrauma, with the stomach sticking out of its mouth and you put it back in the water, it's just going to float on the water and it's going to thrash around on its side. And eventually someone will come along and eat him, or he'll just die. But with this device, you can release him to the bottom of the lake and he'll be fine, in most cases. Fish with barotrauma will eventually float to the surface if they haven't been released properly. And you'll find videos on YouTube where they talk about it, and they'll point and they'll show all the fish floating on the water from barotrauma from fishermen who've been fishing too deep. I don't generally fish that deep, and I don't see any fish floating on the water where I fish. And if they're released properly, they're not going to be doing that. They're going to be staying down there and happily being a fish to be caught again. So give it a try. It's not that hard to make. Good standard equipment to have in your boat. Put it in a spot like this where it's nice and easy to reach, and you can grab it when you need it, and there you go. Whoa, dude! Look at the size of these eaters, eh? There we go, another nice eater, eh? Look at that dandy. There he goes, straight to the bottom. Another very fine fish. Very fine. Whoa! Come back here. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yeah, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts him. There you go. Straight to the bottom. Another dandy. Well, really, I mean, like I could keep doing this all day, but I got to get back. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this video. And if you got something out of this video, please give it a like, the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks a lot for watching.